What's up, dudes? Pedro here again. We are back with another episode of Coffees with Streamers. My guest this time, I'm bringing in a brand new guest we haven't had yet. Bringing in one of my new friends I met fairly recently, about 3 months ago. We're bringing in NashtheGamer. This time we're talking about, well, basically when stuff like this happens.
Hear me, I think it is my headphones. I think they died.
Oh, that will do. That is the segue for this is fantastic.
Can you see me now? Hi.
Yeah, we can actually see you. We can't see you. So here we've had audio issues, camera issues, headphone issues. This is hilarious. This is actually like so. I'm not even mad. This is hilarious to me. Yeah, like that's not fun. But as Christians and as content creators who represent Jesus, how do we respond to that? And that's where Nash and I really started talking about. And it was kind of funny because the one you're about to see is actually the second take. You'll saw the first one, and then eventually we got the second one. Oh, look at that. Willie's letting me know she's here. But till then, thank you guys. If you like this video, please hit that like and subscribe button for more Coffee with Streamers content. If you like more stuff like that, please check out my Twitch channel. Links to both Nash's channel and mine are in the description below. Thank you guys so much, and catch you guys next time. So, hey, Nash, please tell me you can hear me.
I can hear you. Everything is working fine now.
That is awesome. It is funny when a win just happens like that. Okay, so real quick, so I just want to go ahead and bring a verse real quick in mind. I think I talked about this yesterday. So this is so, oh my gosh, like I was like, oh, everything's working now. So for those of you tuning in, so the topic we were going to talk about yesterday was how to handle when things go wrong when you're streaming.
It was a great topic for
yeah,
yesterday.
it was a great, like, just for, so let's go through everything that went out. First, I forgot to plug in my microphone. Like, that's probably the biggest dope of the morning right there. Was I forgot to plug that in. So y'all could hear me, but she couldn't hear me. So I'm like, oh snap, how am I going to handle this? Everyone take 5 real quick, and we'll be right back. We had to take the most impromptu commercial break I'd ever seen. And then my scene wouldn't work, so I couldn't bring her in just as much. And then I don't even know what was going on with your, I think you said your headphones died right after that.
My headphones died. Let's see, what else have I'm going through my laptop right now because, you know, I've had PC issues, as we're going to talk about today. So, yeah, and the piece, you know, the laptop can't handle as much as a PC can.
In case y'all did not know. So
Yeah.
that is like 5 things in a span of like 30 minutes. Actually, not even in a span of 5 minutes that I was like, well, okay, you know, get behind us, Satan. That's all I could think is get behind us, Satan. That was so, but it worked out. Here we are now. Super grateful for your flexibility, Nash. You are awesome, a legend. So it's funny. So I told everyone this yesterday too. I was like, you know, it's funny how I met you because if I'd always, I don't know how, we got connected in social media a long time ago, but we never really interacted. It was kind of like in passing. Maybe I'd see you in someone else's chat, or maybe you just happened to appear into mine. We really didn't connect till like a month ago or something like that. And it has definitely been a pleasure over the last month getting to know you. It's been a lot of fun. That's been like the story of my life recently, is like meeting all these people I've seen in passing. And I was like, oh, hey, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. You're a nerd like that. Here's the plot twist question. You're a nerd like me. Here we're all on Twitch. So
all the nerds and geeks are on Twitch.
I know, right? Hey, careful. Sinner's Prayer does not like that, in case y'all did not know. I called him that once in his chat just to be funny. He's like, yo, man, I'm not a nerd. I'm like, my bad. Sorry.
Sorry, I own it. I own it. I know I am.
I was like, bro, you fooled me, man. You're playing Fortnite on Twitch. You had me fooled. Like,
Yeah.
like there's a couple things right there. So, real quick, I just want to open up with this verse. I know I sent it to you the other day. Psalm 62:8. It says, trust in him at all times, O people, and pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Now, you know, you've had quite the last couple weeks, because I met you right when you were starting your charity stream, which if y'all haven't followed any of that Nash is doing, check that out. She's doing some great work. I always talk about people on Twitch who are doing something greater than themselves, and Nash is clearly one of those people. But it seemed like from day one, you've had like some stuff kind of go on. Like, do you want to kind of like talk about what was going on and really how you responded to a lot of that? That's like the real deal there.
Well, to be honest with you, my problems started way before that. It started back in February, actually. And I had to walk away, and because I was having PC issues then, and I was actually ready to get tossed in the towel and get a new one. And I have a friend who works on computers, and he said, "Hey, let me look at it before you know you do that. Let me look at it." So I took it to him, and he tinkered with it, and it kind of fixed it. It kind of did, and kind of didn't.
Kind
And
of
it's
keyword.
kind of, and it just it came back recently, the same problems. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't quite know what's going on with it, but yeah, I so basically, for those of you who don't know, you know, because you watch, it will freeze whenever I'm streaming, or it will freeze whenever, even when I'm not even streaming, it will just freeze on me. Like if I'm doing a YouTube video and I'm not the best, I'm learning how to edit. I do a lot on my YouTube channel. In fact, I kind of consider myself more of a YouTuber than I do a streamer, just because I do a lot more on that than I do on Twitch. And I, even when I'm editing, it will just freeze and I'll lose 2 hours of editing. So
That's the
yeah,
thing that makes you cry right there.
it sure does. Because I'm like, you mean I have to spend 2 more hours
Uh, uh, you,
editing?
my job before I came here is I was an audio engineer. Like I did studio work,
Oh,
and
nice.
I got into editing about a year or two ago during COVID. Like everybody, you got into video
Yeah,
editing during COVID,
yeah,
and that was like the worst feeling on earth. Of doing a lot of work on a project, taking a night off, coming back, and realizing that your file is corrupted, and you have to like redo your edits all over again. The most
yeah,
sickening feeling. It
yeah,
made me want to punch babies. Not that I
yeah.
punch babies, but you get my point.
I
So
do.
yeah,
Mhm.
so like the reason I want to bring this up is because of like there's a term that we use in the gaming world, and you could say, oh, it's not a thing, but it's definitely a thing. It's called rage quitting.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
It's
called
also.
rage.
I also would call it. There's another one called burnout as well, which
Ooh,
is
that's a big one.
another. And that's a good. That's another one too, because they kind of go hand in hand. When it first happened to me, I was also starting to be burnt out. Because it wasn't necessarily. I kind of. I kind of during that I was going through a lot of things at that time when it first happened. So I had really gone down to 1 day a week on Twitch. I now do 2 to 3 days a week. I at least do two. And but at the time, I was going through a lot of stuff, and I had just decided to go down to 1 day a week or even every other week. And I was doing like 5 YouTube videos a week. And so
That's impressive.
I did a crash course in editing during those few months that I did that, and it's definitely not the best, but I'm definitely better than what I was. But it's yeah, I experienced a lot of burnout, and I think during that time when that did happen, that I think when we go through things like this, well, like when things don't go according to plan, sometimes I think the Lord he provides it because he wants to show us something, you know
Mm-hmm.
and he showed me something. He showed me, well, first and foremost, you're being burnt out. Second, you need to go back to Twitch and try it again. So, and I'm glad I did, because I've made a lot of friends like you, and several other new ones that I've made. So it's been a blessing, but this time it's been more about trusting him as far as uh the timing,
There's the
because
magic word,
yeah,
trust.
the timing for it, of course, wasn't right, and just the time period, because it's taken. I haven't even taken it into the Geek Squad, because I have had problems with my contract with them at Best Buy. So I have not even been able to take it into them, and I finally got it fixed yesterday, the contract. So now it's going to go in on Wednesday. So, it's also just trusting the Lord about everything. Just trusting him. He's got it all under control,
Hundred,
and
100%. That's something we forget about a lot. Like everybody, if you ever looked into content creation in the beginning, unless you're DJ Para, I said this last time, and she's like, actually, I did not do that. So, love you, DJ, if you're out there later on. I know she's
I
streaming
love you
right
too,
now.
DJ.
Yeah, I know she was like, I just kind of dove in. But if you go and you're looking like, all right, how to get basics and stuff like that, there are so many resources
Yeah.
on like how to grow numbers, how to like make your background more attractive, how
Books.
to get
I bought so many books.
oh yeah, there's so many, but at the end of the day, it comes down to like, what is God doing in this moment? How is he handling it? And I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about tech. That's a big part of it because of like, that's like the number one frustration when you talk to like
Is
people
the
who stream.
number one, yes.
Oh, yeah. Like, I remember like just when I first started a little over a year ago, I've only been streaming for about a year and 2 months now. And it's been fun. It has been a blast. No, I have no signs of burnout yet. Keyword yet. So, I mean, I've had my moments where I need to take breaks, of course. That was a whole other discussion. Like, I think one of the first ones we did in the summer. So, but when you're first learning how to stream, if you're able to get online, audio, video successfully, that's a win. Like, I remember like the first time I was like, I did it. I streamed. I didn't even care that there was nobody watching. I'm like, I streamed. We did it, folks. We got it, man. That was awesome.
Yeah,
like
and
such a breath of fresh air.
My first stream, it didn't go according to plan because I had audio issues that time around, but it was just my family watching, and when you first start out, it's going to be your family,
Oh yeah.
So
pro tip to anyone who wants to start: when you first do a stream and you want to make sure things work, put test stream. Like just put test stream as the title.
Yes, because I did not. But
for one, I did. Just because I had a feeling, and I'm grateful I did, because number one, there are people who want to help you. Like the Twitch community is one of the, granted, it's not perfect, but it has some of the nicest people out there who want to help you grow. So people naturally like, hey, let's see what's going on. So they naturally take a look, and they will give you honest feedback. And that's what I did. I did a test stream. I labeled it as that. And mine was a crash and burn, just like anybody's, because of, just like anybody's, like crash and burn, like the White brothers, guys who made the airplane, had nothing on mine, because I was streaming directly from my console. So I just got a PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Yeah, I had just got a PlayStation 5, and I'm like, all right, what can this bad boy do? And I was looking on YouTube, and it's like, oh, you can stream from it. Let's find this out. Like, it was the most spontaneous decision I'd ever made in my life. Let's give this a go. And I was streaming off Wi-Fi, so that immediately says how this is going to go.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Yeah, so, like, first thing, I get a little message pop up that says, your stream did not crash, but you lost signal, but only audio is getting transmitted out. So you just see, like, the blue screen of death, even though everything's going well. I'm playing. One of my bros was watching, and he goes, yeah, it looks like you lost everything, man. So I was like, well, shoot, what can we do to fix this? And that's when I'm like, oh, Ethernet cables. That's a thing. I guess we'll figure this out yet. And every time I
figured that out too, and within a few months as well.
Yeah,
because I was streaming on Wi-Fi as well for a while, and I have a twin sister actually. We're twins, and we live together. And so my dad, came over, and he was trying to help me figure it all out. And he's like, I got you these pods, these booster pods, and those didn't even help. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had to the Ethernet cable really helps.
It's a game changer. And for a while there, it seems like every time I got new equipment, there's like, oh, how's this going to go? Like, how is this going to go?
For me today, I got it for my birthday. The big Stream Deck. My parents gave it to me. And I love the living daylights out of it, but I hadn't. It came to me right when I started to have the first session of PC issues. And so I thought, I'm just scared to even set this up, because I don't know if this is going to work or not. So I just recently started using it, and it's definitely a game changer for me. It makes your stream more entertaining. There we go.
I just like, because I don't have a Stream Deck, but I have the free app that I use for my tablet.
Yes.
That's what I use. And I just like, it's like, I honestly thought, what am I going to get a Stream Deck for? And it's a total game changer. Like, I am now, like before, especially because I was streaming off a laptop. I'm a dual PC setup, but I was streaming off a laptop. So I'd have to like uncomfortably like reach over. You clearly see me on camera, like trying to like type things in and stuff. And I was like, oh wait, now it's a button right here. Shoot, I need to get me one of these things. Like I for real actually want to get a stream deck.
I'm here to tell you, they call it and the place that has all of the sounds and everything. I went on and got the lifetime license. I splurged on that, but that's a game changer as well. Because,
Oh
like
man.
when people come in, it's a way for me to welcome them in. I have like a clap. I mean,
I've
it's
noticed that. I
yeah,
have noticed that. That's fun. And that's a big part of like why the tech is so scary because especially like when you look at like the community like our community of friends that we all have, we're pretty tight knit. Like everybody kind of knows people. If you have at least like a small following, there's a good chance you've met like just about everybody there is in the community around. So
yeah,
the Christian community is pretty tight knit. And what I like was when you meet every person there, it's so big on like trying to make everybody feel welcome, trying to make everybody, not like isolated in the stream. So when the tech stuff goes wrong, it's so frustrating, especially because of like I've said this all the time. What makes like us who have the Christian tag so different is that we're not putting attention on ourselves. We're always trying to find those moments to kind of let God's love be shown. So it's so frustrating when the tech stuff goes wrong because of it's not just, oh dang, I don't get the stream. It's like, what if there was like a moment I could have shared with somebody at that time?
yeah.
Or it's
And
like,
with
what if
me, and with
yeah,
me
go
with the
ahead.
charity thing, it was just kind of like because I always here's a little thing. I always when I first started streaming, like I'm coming up on it'll be 2 years at the end of October when I started streaming, and it's the when before I even started, I wanted to do charity streams like every other month. That's what I wanted to do, and but I was a little scared to do it just because, and I felt the Lord leading me to do that. But I was a little scared to do it, a little skeptical because I wasn't. I thought you're not big enough, and you're not big enough to even make a difference, you know.
I feel called out right there. I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, I tell you, what called me out is, and it was all the Lord because you know, when it's funny that you mentioned all the friends because I was there right at the beginning when all the friends start to come in, and it was BG Gilbert that
Oh, we all know Gilbert. We
we
all know
all know
him.
Gilbert, and I was praying to the Lord, Lord, I really want some friends. I don't care. I just want some friends because I was going at it alone for a long time.
Mhm.
And he I don't know how he got a hold of my stream. I don't even know how, but he put me in a list of gamers. And I will say this. It's kind of cool because I was the only girl for a while in the group until
Yeah, what
until
like a year ago, apparently a lot of them popped out.
yeah, and then until about a year ago, and then it was like, and which I don't mind, by the way, I don't mind. I grew up a tomboy, so I'm not necessarily I'm fine with that. But yeah, so it was just it's cool to see how big the group has gotten and how we support one another. And even if I don't like, we never came and by each other's stream on, and up till a month ago, but I always knew about you, and I always watched your clips and everything you put out.
Oh,
So
the randomness as I call it,
yeah,
the insane jump scares that really should not be jump scares but
yeah,
somehow
but they're
are.
funny, they're good.
So
So
it's so funny because my boss, who I work with, he follows the Instagram. He comes into Twitch from time to time. He's not really like a watch stream person,
yeah,
but he loves to tear apart the stream. Like he loves to, like he's being a friend. He like I think the
yeah.
one what was it when I was doing Poppy's playtime. He's
Oh
still like,
yes.
dude. He's like, how is that funny? Like he's like, how is this giant furry monster funny? And I said, here's how it's scary, man. I'll tell you really one reason how it's scary. It's called really good quality headphones.
That's
it's like
right.
it's like you'd be saying how the game changes when that. Like if I was playing in my living room on my speakers, I'd probably be like, well, that's cool. But
Yeah.
it's so funny how that happens. But
But well,
yeah,
I
go ahead,
mean,
continue. You're talking about that.
I was watching, you were watching me when I was playing Call of Duty Ghost, and the
Mm-hmm.
guy shot me, and I that jump scared me. But a friend later on said, "Why did I even?" Yeah, same. Yeah, why did I even scare you? I think it's because I'm so into the story,
Oh yeah,
as well.
when you get invested, it's like you forget the world around you. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So anyway, you were talking about the community. I know we sidetracked there a little bit there. Go ahead and continue. You were talking about like how you met Gilbert and how he's like the master of like connecting people all
He
around.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
have the utmost respect for Gilbert. I love that
me
man.
too.
If he's ever in Dallas, I'm like, bro, we gotta meet, man.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. He was actually, I would say, him and PT Stress
Mm.
um were probably my first friends
See,
as far as streaming
I
goes. They were my first real friends. We kept up with one another. PT, um, if I had, he's the nicest guy. If I had any trouble, he would contact me and help me out. So he's the nicest guy, and he's really good at Fortnite. And
I I I feel really bad because of I don't know PT Stress all. He knows of me and I know of him, but like I know hardly anything about the guy. I remember we're both in Armor of God Esports. Shout out AOG,
yeah,
and he mentioned, hey, any Dallas peeps, and I said, yo, right here. And he's like, bro, we should meet up. And I had a panic attack. So I'm like, dude, I don't know you, like,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
never, and I feel bad because now I actually kind of know who he is, and I've heard he's like such a nice guy. I've been meaning to kind of pop into his stream
yeah,
just to kind of get to know him a little bit. Like, hey, us Dallas folks got to sit together. Like, I know A's and Rice Cakes. He just moved to my area,
yeah,
so I've been meaning to try to meet up with him too. But school's a whole other world.
yeah.
But
It is.
it's funny you bring up like us having to support each other in that kind of way. I was reading like this thing. I don't know, it's a Twitter post that talked about how like the Christian community needs to kind of, if we want to make an impact, we got to change something. And I'm like, well, like, it's because like all I see is the same names or groups of people every time I go into a chat. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's because we've known each other for years at
Yeah,
this point. Most of y'all, you said y'all have known most people for 2 years. Gilbert's been around the block for a bit here and there. PT Stress has. Redfire Trevor definitely has been.
PT
So
Stress started out at that. He streamed on YouTube for a while, and then he went to. He's been streaming for a while. He was at that other one that
oh, was
was
it
a
Mixer?
yeah, Mixer. He was on Mixer for a while. Yeah. So and then
Yeah,
when Mixer, of course, went down, he came here. So he's been streaming for a while.
yeah.
So
Something I was it talked about, it's like, because I just see the same names, and I'm like, well, how's that a problem? I'm like, think about it. Yeah, we all flock to each other's channels. We want to do that, but like, let's think of the Twitch algorithm real quick. It's
oh
like,
yeah, I
yeah,
get.
like,
I yeah.
oh yeah, it's not easy. Twitch is one of
Not
the
easy.
it's one of the hardest things to break into. Like the fact that if you can get above 10 viewers makes you in the top 2%, that says something right there.
It does.
Like
Yeah.
which is why, like, when I was doing that for a bit here and there, like, I'll admit summer's harder to stream it just because everyone's on vacation.
It is
But
because I last year I changed up my schedule too to try to meet people's need, when I thought they could come in. But honestly, I just kept with the same schedule now.
yeah, at
Yeah.
this point, I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm just gonna have some fun and write it out. That's all you can do. But like, I remember when I was breaking that for a little bit here and there, I was like, man, I'm in the top 2%. It's a good motivator at the end of the day. But like, when you look at it, it's like, man, it is so hard. So that's why I don't think it's really a problem that we all flock to each other's channels, because of, like, let's think about it. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Let's say there's 7 or 8 people in this one chat over here. Yeah, that's already like a small group, but hang on, clearly something good must be going on over here. If
Mm.
and that's where the other people start coming in. That's where those come in, and especially like when you look at some of the other people who tune in. Like, let's throw Redfire. That guy has like 40 to 50 per stream. He's a great streamer, one of the nicest guys. I've gotten to know him fairly recently. Such a cool dude. I think he's one of the most supportive people you'll ever meet on Twitch.
Yes.
And with all due respect to all the viewers, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but out of the 40 people, I have a hard time believing that every single one of them is saved. So,
Yes, and that's
yeah,
that I was about to say. I sometimes fly under the Christian tag, and then
mhm.
sometimes I don't. And sometimes I
Yeah.
don't because I feel like it immediately turns people off on you.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
it totally
And
does. Like,
and
that's
and
a whole other discussion in itself
that's a
right
whole
there.
nother discussion. But yeah, and I don't know. I just want to show God's love to everyone. I tell everyone this is a safe place for everyone. This is where and some people come in, they're like, you got so many rules. And I'm like, well, this is a safe place for everyone. we put aside everything when we come in here. It's just about gaming when we're in
Oh
here.
yeah, like
You
I do
know.
the same thing. I've taken off from time to time here and there, and it's cool if it is or isn't. I normally keep it on just because I'm like, hey, look, like I'm one of those where I let it fly. Like I
Yeah.
have no filter when it comes to the faith. Like you've heard, like when I get scared, I
Yeah.
start talking about the gospel. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not just a
Yeah.
tactic. There's a comfort in that. So
Yes.
it's like just be wary of what you're coming into. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
hear it pretty often. You might as well like know
Yeah.
for the most part. And I've been very open. I've answered questions. I have no
Yeah.
problem with that kind of thing.
Well,
Now
and
if you're gonna
people will eventually. I see that the conversation later on. You know, like
mm-hmm.
when they come in, they'll say something's different about you. You know, and then that's the opens the door for me.
Oh,
You know,
totally. Yeah. The
in a
only
way.
thing is if you're coming in and you want to have a fight or an argument, then we're gonna throw down ugly. Like that
Yeah.
that's where you're gonna see it. I'll be like, all right, you want to throw down? We'll throw down. I'm just kidding. I don't do that. That's not at all how I like to
God's
do these.
love.
Oh,
God's
totally. I've only had to ban a person once, and it's
I've
because
had to
of
ban several people.
yeah. I've only had to do that once. That's the perks of being a small time streamer is when and I did it because of they. God forgive me for this, but they were kind of calling. I could tell they were trying to stir the pot. Even like
Yeah.
atheist friends who were watching were like, "Dude, this guy's trolling you." I'm like, "I know." And
Yeah.
finally, I said, "All right, look, man, I'm only give you one more warning, and if you get this one more time, I'm gonna remove you." And he goes, "That's not very Christ-like." And I'm like, "Oh well, I'll show you Christ-like." So not my brightest moment. Not my brightest, but I kind of had to like prove a point. Like, look, dude, like
Well, yeah.
I don't tolerate trolls. Like that's just
Yeah.
not how
No.
I do. Like if you want to have a talk, we'll have a talk. But if you're gonna try to make a mockery of it, that's a whole other thing in itself. But that kind of goes back into like when things go like
Yeah. Not
haywire, when
according
things
to
don't accord.
plan.
Yeah, because me personally, I'm one of those where I've been like that since I was a kid, and I've gotten better. Where I am like a plan person, like plan A, plan B. That's the Eagle Scout in me. That's like
Yeah.
the minister in me, which that I've definitely had to learn to surrender that one, of course, because that hardly ever goes right. And
Yeah.
it's like, how do you do, especially when things don't go right? I get flustered. Like I get
Oh
very
yeah.
like what is going like I get very like agitated. So I'm like, how do I keep that in check? How do I remind myself that it's still just gaming at the end of the day? Yeah, it's a little bit of it's different because we're doing something, in my opinion, that's greater than just gaming. It's not about the points or the scores or getting first place, even though we all like to win.
Yeah.
It's never about those things. So it's like, how do I do that? And for me, well, I have a bag of gummy worms right here that I
Mhm.
always keep ready to go at a moment's notice. And there's also just like surrendering, and I like remember like, okay, it happens. The man upstairs is in the control. Like especially with yours, like I'm gonna be honest, I had gained so much respect for you when you were doing your charity stream and everything was kind of going the way it was. I was like, dude, I would have punched a wall by this point. Like something
Well, I may have punched a pillow or two when I got off stream a few
yeah,
times. To a fair amount.
how do you compose that Christ-like image when you have people watching? Like that's the thing. Like, cause I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very good at that. But that's kind of the thing that we need to remember is that we are representing Christ, and when things go wrong, most people outside of our community can just let loose and whatever happens happens. So like, how do you maintain that? Of course, there's the obvious answer of like, well, obviously I do the same thing off stream as much as on stream. You want to be authentic. But like seriously, like there is like the realism. We're human. So how do you do it? Like what is your technique?
Well, I think I kind of learned. uh, I haven't done it perfectly this time. This time's been a little stressful, and it gets more. You think because you get a little bit bigger that it's going to be easier. It's not. It puts more pressure on you because even though maybe I average, let's say 13 viewers, that's more than what I used to get. And so in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I don't want people to forget about me and not come, you know, and forget about you. So that's also on you as well as charity. I think excuse me. I as I'm not saying this as anything as a girl, a gamer girl on stream. I've had to learn to turn a lot of things over to the Lord, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot over to the Lord because Actually, the reason why I decided to go almost full time YouTube was because I had more control of some of the things that I was going through. Um, yeah, I went through a lot of harassment when I first started, and so and to the point where I wanted to quit. My mod, Thunder, bless him, he's one of my best friends, and yeah, he was he's so sweet. He watches out for me all the time in the stream. And that's why I walked away for a while because I it got to the point where I didn't know what the stream was going to be. And you heard about hate raids. I got that
Mm-hmm.
twice.
Oh yeah, I think that started right when I started streaming, and I actually
Yeah,
got like
I
I
got
got like
that
one or
twice.
two.
Yeah, I got that twice, and it started it got to the point where some of my followers, even though they weren't a lot, now look, bless Gilbert, God bless Gilbert, because I was able to get affiliate within like 6 months, I think, and sometimes it takes people longer, but he promoted the whatever out of me. So he bless him. He he wielded me to that affiliateship.
That
But
is a lot harder to maintain than people realize. Like I
it
remember I was
is.
reading, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, you can probably get it in no time." Like, no, no, it
No.
took me about 8 months, I think, 8 or 9 months.
Yeah.
Like,
It,
especially when you're just this like bearded dude sitting with all his Funko Pops behind him, like you don't got much to offer at that point.
yeah, well, that's not true. But
I'm kidding
yeah,
around, obviously.
well, but and it got to the point where some of my followers, and I always tell people this is the way I look at everything. There's a barrel of apples, and there's 100 apples in that barrel, and only 20 of them are bad. The rest of them are good, right? That's the way I look at it. And it got to the point where these guys, they would, and I know they're guys because we would follow each other, and they would get to know me for maybe a month or two, and I thought, well, they're coming in, they're supporting me. You think they're supporting you, and then they start sending you pictures about wanting to have the birds and the bees with you.
Oh my
And
goodness, that
yeah,
oh no,
and it
that's a
got
button for
bad.
me.
It,
That's a huge button for me.
yeah, it got bad. It got real bad. And you can guess what some of those pictures had in it. And it was just it got bad, and that's why I walked away. And then that first break I took in February, that was one of the things the Lord said, you got to trust me because I led you to do this. So you got to trust me. You need to go back and start doing at least 2, 3 times a week. You need to go back and start being a light over there. And when it starts happening, you just tell them how you know that it's wrong, and tell them. And I tell them all the time. It happened to me recently. And I paused it. I went back. I said, look, I'm praying for you because I know that the Lord's led me to do this. And if He leaves something on your heart, you got to go and do it. You got to trust Him. And I'm praying for you that your heart and mind will be changed. Because I know, because you have people are braver on the internet, aren't they? They people
Oh,
are braver.
no
They're
kidding.
braver because they have no face. So you can't
Hmm.
face them face to face, so they're braver. But yeah, so I think I learned, it's not that I've done it perfectly this time, because this time it's been a little stressful, definitely because I've been doing it with the charity. So this time it's been a little stressful, but I have learned. And also, I love that part in the verse when it says, pour out your heart to God. God doesn't want a fluffy prayer. When
Hmm.
I've learned, I'm
Mm.
honest with Him. I am honest with Him.
Uh,
If I'm angry, I'm going to tell him. And I have told him this time. I've told him a lot. I said, what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing, but I don't like it.
it's
And
like I'm not okay with that.
I'm not
Oh,
okay. And you know, you read so much, you say, but the Lord is going to bring you through the valley, and He's going to. And I've been through a lot of life things, and He has brought me through every single one of them. But and I know that for a fact. But I do know also that sometimes the Lord just wants you to be honest. And if I'm not feeling that, I'm not going to tell him. So sometimes I say, I know you're going to work this out, but here's how I'm feeling, and I need you to show me something that you're here in this and in this, and he will. He always does. He'll bring a Bible verse to my mind, or he'll I this is going to sound crazy, but I just got my first ever paycheck from Twitch because I reached the goal. I reached over the goal. There's something that if you reach a goal, they pay you. And I didn't even know I reached that, but they did. And it was
Look
like
at
my first,
you.
it was my first one. And I really felt like, and once I saw them, I'm like, okay, you're here. So he'll provide little things for you. So it's kind of like, okay, you're here, you're working this,
Oh
what's that
yeah.
song? Even when I can't see, you're working. Even
Oh
when I
yeah.
can't feel it, you're working. And that's become my theme song.
Yeah,
For
Waymaker.
yeah, it's become my theme song for streaming. Period.
Yeah,
And doing any content, doing any YouTube, and because sometimes I'm like, when I make a YouTube video, I'm like, this is gonna be a good one. I did good on this, and then you know,
Oh yeah,
and then it gets like what 8 views. I'm like, but it's so good. I did a good job on this one.
I feel you there, because I put together like 2 weeks ago when I was in Florida. Just like I had a little bit of downtime, I have my laptop with me. I go, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and, just since I knew I wasn't gonna be streaming all that week, I put together a scare compilation of some of the best like jump scares that I've had over the last year. Like I highlight everything. Every stream I find at least one highlight, and I'll put it on Instagram or something. I'll do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had all these. I go, you know what? Let's have some fun with this. And there were some that didn't quite make it to Instagram. So I go, let's throw some things that people haven't seen yet. Maybe it's some like, there's some lifelong viewers that I've had since I started streaming, like Tristan795. I don't know if you know him. He was pretty big for a bit. Yeah, he and I used to live together. So he was there. Cool. Oh yeah, he and I've been friends for a long time. So like he saw like almost all of those when they happened. But then there were some people like Dabster, who I met a couple months ago, who wasn't there in the beginning. So he's like, dude, this is great. I was really proud of it. And it only caught like 8 views. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, this is like so. But at the end of the day, it's like, this goes back to the things we talk about. Like, the plan you make isn't always gonna go the way you want to. Like, sometimes when you're, like, I think about, like, myself and my channel for the last couple, like, earlier in the summer, I was averaging between 5 to 7 viewers per stream. It was going great. It was probably the largest I had, and on a good day, which is happening at least once a stream, I'd crack 10. So I'm like, this is awesome. And then we got into the heat of the summer, vacation season, travel season, and those numbers dropped. Like, talk about a gut punch. We talked about that earlier. You were aware of that. Talk about a gut punch. And the only thing that, like, kept me going was I'd look at some of my other friends, and I'm like, well, it's clearly not just me. Like, I remember there's one guy, he was, like, same boat, and he's having lower numbers as well. You just said you were having low numbers. Gilbert, same thing. He was having lower numbers. Like, it just seemed it was, like, across the board, everybody. So,
I found out, though, that, and this is going to sound like, oh, you're just trying to bring viewers in. Well, I am to an extent, but,
I mean, you're not wrong.
I'm not, but sometimes I run, I find that if I do a giveaway, even if it's just a $10 gift card.
Oh yeah, people dig those.
People will go in for that, even if it's $5 to $10. They're gonna come in for it because they don't care. They're gonna want to win it. So that's also one. But I've also found out that even though the Lord's led me to start doing these charity streams every other month, which right now, so the one I'm doing right now is, for those that don't know, I'm doing Stop Soldier Suicide, which is really near and dear to my heart in a lot of ways. And I've been wanting to do that for a while. So I've also found that people are willing to come in for a charity stream, actually. And I know that sounds a little backwards, but I think people like the fact that it's not always about you.
Oh
you
yeah,
I
like
mean?
I actually, it's funny when I started streaming, and like my following first happened, I kept it kind of to myself. I really didn't tell a lot of people I was doing it, which is apparently what you're not supposed to do.
I kind
But
of did too. My friends and family knew, but outside of them, like
yeah,
extended family, I didn't tell them for a while. You
oh
know,
yeah,
because some
like
people just don't get it. Do you
oh
know
yeah,
what I
they
mean? They
yeah they
don't get
don't get
it.
it. Yeah,
They don't
they
get it,
don't.
and they'll say, well, what if you, I don't get how maybe one day this could be a full-time job. I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be or not, but if it does, that's awesome. You know, it's just kind of one of those things of they just don't quite get it. And they're
Oh
like,
yeah,
that's not a real thing. I'm like, well, it is if you look at
oh
it.
yeah. Like, well, it's funny because like my family and we're like, so how do you just you make money playing video games? Like they didn't really
Yeah.
understand, and I'm like, well, that's
Hmm.
fair. Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean,
everyone's argue that.
it's a lot of part. Look, I tell people, you put on a production
Mm-hmm.
when you go live. You're putting on production. This
Oh,
is like my
totally.
third setup I've had. This is like my third one because the first one I had. That's another thing. Your setup's gonna change because you're
Oh,
gonna learn
totally.
what you need and what you don't need.
Oh yeah,
So
this is like my third as well. Like
yeah,
there was like my first one was in my apartment, which like it's actually on the YouTube thing I did. You saw it. It's so funny because it shows like the growth of my channel where we become because it's me on a folding chair, like literally with like a camera on my TV because I'm streaming from my console, like and that's it. And then like eventually I got this chair that I have now, and then I moved to the apartment I'm at now where you saw my kitchen behind me. And I hated that. I did not like my kitchen behind me. One, I don't want people to see my kitchen. Two, I was required to do dishes on the regular because I don't want people to know I have a dirty kitchen.
yeah.
And three, I was probably overthinking because there's this giant gaping black hole because my lighting was fairly decent. So it was just nothing behind me. And that's where I was like, you know what? I'm going to redo things. And now I have my Funkos behind me. I got the colored lights. Like, it's so funny. Like, you just see, like, the growth of how like the channels go and everything like that. And that's funny because like when you look at going back to we're talking about how things don't go the way you want them to. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier God's trying to show you something. I think that's true. I also think because when you go through these things, I believe that the calling of all mankind next to evangelism, which sharing the gospel is teaching, is
Yes.
showing. And every time something like that happens, we get a lesson out of it. Like even if it's one we've learned 1,000 times, that's one more time we've learned. Like we are always supposed to grow in a different way, and it makes us better content creators at the end of the day because we learn something new, whether it's a new skill or it's a new approach or just how to keep calm, how to bite your tongue, or better yet, like you did, when to let loose, when to let people realize, hey, look, this is not okay. You cannot talk to me like this in my stream. Like we're gonna nip this in the butt right now.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny how you see like the growth in people as they get used to it.
Well, and
And
I'll tell you what the Lord did. I
mhm,
when I stepped away too, and then during that period of time, the Lord he really convicted me because I have a 10-year-old cousin. Now he's into all of this gaming stuff, so he thinks
mhm.
I'm about the coolest thing in the world,
Oh, they always
and
think that.
he
Not my
thinks
cousin.
I'm the coolest thing, and I love it. And like one day you won't think that, but right now you do. So thank you very much. Thank you. And I always say he's the one that taught me to play Fortnite. I couldn't do Fortnite until the pandemic happened and we couldn't see one another. And he said, "Come on, play Fortnite with me." I was like, "Okay," because I tried it and I couldn't do it. So
Mhm.
I thought this isn't for me. And so he's the one that taught me to play Fortnite. I was doing no builds before no builds was a thing, though. I will
Same.
say that. That
I
was
think I think that's like most FPS or shooter people in general.
yeah.
Like when you,
I was doing that way before everybody before that became a thing. But he came up to me one day. We were finally got to see one another, and he came up to me. It was last year. Was it last year? I don't know. It was sometime not too long ago, and he came. And this is one of the things that brought me back to streaming. He came up to me and said, "I want to do what you're doing one day." And I thought, and all I could think of in my mind is I always want someone to be there to help me out. Do you know what I
mhm.
mean? Like, help me
Oh,
set things
totally.
up, to turn to and say, is this right? Is this going okay? How do I handle this situation and things like that? And so, and they left, and I thought, yes, I'm going to help you wherever you need. Whenever you start, I'm going to help you. He's 10, he won't do it for a while, but I thought, whenever you do, I'm here to help.
Oh yeah.
And he left, and it goes back to that trust thing of the Lord. I was putting on my comfy clothes, and I was going to go down. I was going to eat. We had made homemade ice cream when they came, so I was going to go down to eat some homemade ice cream. I was getting ready, and the Lord just came to me, and he just kind of, it's funny. It's really cool how the Lord works, because he leaned. It's like he leaned into me, and he said, and it's like, and I was praying before I was going to, and he just, it's really cool how the Lord reveals things to you in prayer. And he said, okay, you're going to have to trust me, because that's great. Let's do that for him. I think that would be great. But what are we going to do about the other 10-year-old girls, because of everything I
Ooh.
faced? What are we going to do for them to make it better for them? What are we doing? Because you've left. He was calling me out. You've left.
Ooh.
You left it. And you need to trust me. You need to go back, because we need to make it better for them. So when it's their turn, it needs to be safer for them. And that like convicted me. I had chills and I had everything. I thought, okay, it's time for me to go back. So yeah, it goes back to that trust thing, and I thought, okay, Lord, I'm trusting you. I'm scared. And I did. I poured out my heart to Lord. I'm scared to go back. I'm afraid to go back, because I don't know what I'm going to face when I go back. But I'm going back. And it has been the most rewarding thing to come back and do it. Now, of course, I'm having issues. But I also think he's brought opportunities for me since I've come back. Compassion International, that was the first. They found me out of the blue. I'm so small. I don't know how that they did, because and a bunch of us Christian streamers did it. It was like a huge thing for Compassion International.
Oh yeah, I
And
took a week off just so I can get some love to you guys. Not that I have much of an impact anyways, but I'm like, you know what? I'd
oh
rather
well, but
they get
viewership
all of it.
means a lot. Yeah, but some of the ones that were doing it, they're Twitch partners.
Oh
And
yeah, like
or
it
they
was
or even if they're not Twitch partners, they have 10 times bigger viewership than me. And so I was shocked that they even asked me, because and I messaged them. I said, I talked to the she's awesome, Courtney, and I said, Courtney, I'm small. I don't know how much I can actually bring in. And she said, that's okay. I said, but I'm going to tell you something. The Lord's put it on my heart to do this since the very beginning when I started, and I haven't been doing it. And I think He's brought this opportunity to me to start doing it. And she said, that's awesome. We don't care about the numbers. We just want to bring awareness and things like that. And so I said, okay. Well, so I start, and that was the rewarding thing. Sometimes when you gotta step out in faith and trust the Lord, He'll actually grow you. My stream grew from doing that as well, and not even my stream, not only my stream, but my YouTube channel, everything, And He'll use that kind of stuff. He's like, just trust me, step out on this and trust me, and see what happens. And yeah, it was a blessing. So yeah, that's why I started doing the. After that, it was like the Lord's like, okay, I showed you that you could do it. So now it's time for you to do it by yourself now, and not just in a group. So yeah, that's why I did the Stop Soldier Suicide. I've been wanting to do it for a while for them, and they
hmm
contacted me, but I've been wanting to do it. They were in the back of my mind way before they contacted me.
Oh wow.
And
God doing his thing again.
yeah, it was. Yeah, but they contacted me, but I was getting ready to contact them and say, well, I would really love. Hey, I'm a streamer, and I really would like to do a charity stream for you guys.
Mm.
A whole month of charity streams for you, and that was God too. Yeah. And yeah, because it's near and dear to my heart in a lot of ways. I've had people who have served in the military and things like that. So it's definitely near and dear to my heart. So I wanted to do it. And yeah, the opportunity came now. It hasn't gone the way I've planned, but, I think one of the things
That's
that the
hmm
Lord is showing me during this whole entire thing is trust Him. He's got it all under control. Your timing's not my timing. I'm learning that during this time. Your timing.
no. I will drink another whole coffee to that one right there. You know, it's funny. Let's change gears a little bit here. So like we're still gonna talk when things don't go according to plan. But you brought up something that I was gonna bring up today. What about the opposite when they exceed what we expect? Like that's the thing. Like how do we respond to that? Like that's something. Like you brought up something pretty big that's been huge, and I tell people this all the time. Is I have at least right now I have no intention of being a full time streamer. That's not something I really feel driven to do. I mean, it'd be cool, don't get me wrong, but it's not something I really feel like I should be doing at the moment right now. I kind of have other things I'd like to do, and that's totally fine. This is a hobby for me at the moment. Am I going to stop it anytime soon? Probably not. But when you're a small streamer especially, there are moments of like extreme burnout that you're gonna get. Like in the beginning, the grind is so hard. Like getting your first follow is like, a cramp in itself. Like just learning how to do that, that is something else entirely there. So I remember like right every time I'm like, maybe it's time to reconsider doing something else, throw in the towel here and there, something amazing would happen. Like I remember the first time I was like, you know what, this has been fun. Maybe I should just focus on other things. Armor of God Esports approached me and they're like, hey dude, we'd like you to bring as a content creator. I was like, I have 25 followers. Like, they're like, hold on, y'all. And, and I found out that I got recommended by her Shades, who's a friend of mine, as you know. So, and she's another one great at just connecting people.
She was my first, friend that was a girl. She was my first friend. He was the first one. And
I know. She's huge into connecting, like, gamer girls. That's a big thing with her right now.
Yeah, and that meant the world. She was my first friend. I think we were actually, I don't know, you have to ask her, but I think we were actually, we might have been each other's first, friends as girls. I think we might have
really?
been. Yeah, because I think we connected from Gilbert, because she had just started streaming. And Gilbert messaged, Gilbert put her in the list, and then Gilbert messaged me and said, hey, here's another girl, you need to go check her out. And so I did, and we've been friends since then. But and she's done charity streams. She did Compassion International.
She did that. She did her human trafficking one, which was awesome.
Yeah, and I did that one with her. I went Warzone.
Yeah, I think I did Destiny with her as well on like the very last night of the stream, which was a lot of fun to do that. But that's another like a thing. There's like, all right, so it's like that happened. I'm like, cool. So my channel grew from knowing them. Then, like, right when I was kind of feeling another burnout here and there, then I got connected with Gamers for Christ, and I got to know, like, Dabster, Brittany, and I already knew DJ Pear, but then DJ Pear and I became friends. Then suddenly, like, right when I'm like, maybe I should give it another, maybe I should stop again, my channel, like, had a huge growth in which we were just averaging huge. And every time I'm like, well, I don't know if I should continue, something crazy happens where it's, like, oh, now we should. And even fairly recently, like with the summertime coming where it is, like, where it's completely slow for Twitch right now and everyone's just struggling with numbers.
If you look at the bigger streamers too, their numbers, usually their numbers are down too right now.
Oh yeah,
I don't watch too many big streamers. I'm more of a middle to small, but like I watch Stroud. I like Stroud. Even his numbers have decreased. Now they have increased since he became a pro in Valorant. But but even his numbers have suffered as well. If you look
but even like last night, I had right when I'm thinking, all right, let's just last night I was thinking, let's see how tonight goes. We'll make some decisions in the coming weeks to see if maybe I need a break or something. I had 2 guys resubscribe last night, and it was like record low viewership again. And then the night before that, when I was playing the Quarry, someone gave me bits to buy a new game. So I'm like, okay, clearly, even though like I'm at this point, God is still saying, hey, we're still got stuff we can do here. Like, and that's where like the expectation have been exceeded, because it's like, even though this is small, the support I have is still very good. Like, and that was another thing, like, where like it was so funny right when I was kind of like getting busy with school and I had like a bunch of youth retreats I had to do. Shades contacted me. It was like, hey, dude, I'd like you to bring you on for my charity stream. Which, like, that was such a big deal for me at the time because it's
it
like,
was to me too when she contacted me.
yeah,
too.
I was like, you think you want me to take part in, like,
yeah, I know. And
anytime somebody
yeah.
brings me on for something, I'm like, you want me to be a part of this? I'd be
Yeah.
more than happy to do that. And that was like a blast. I think we had played Destiny till like 3 o'clock in the morning. That was like insane. But that was like every time I'm like wondering like, okay, how much further is this gonna go? God rejuvenates. Like, clearly we still have work we got to do. Like,
Right.
clearly your time in this is not done. Even like right now, I was debating because I'm finishing my master's later this year, and I'm like, okay, we'll have to make some decisions. Later this year, am I going to take some time off during school? Am I not? And then even now, I'm like, no, you can make it work. You got a record high GPA last semester while you were streaming
Let's
2 times a week. I think you can make it work, which I'm like, okay, you got my attention, Lord. And it's funny how like God takes the good in those. Like, it's funny how we're not sure what we're doing, and God completely shatters those expectations, derails you in the best way,
Mm-hmm.
and makes you, it's like, you know what, okay, we're still gonna keep doing this as long as I focus on him. That's the thing that a lot of us forget, or like most people forget about. And I know you can attest to that. You just talked about multiple times about how you were like, I don't know, should I not? And then suddenly God's like, you thought, hang on, I'm gonna show you. And it's funny how you just see the creator work in such awesome ways like that.
Well, and yeah, I gotta remember too. Like he, I think it's also this thing of he's bigger than anything. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he's bigger than anything. So you have to remember, he's bigger than any situation, and he's got it all under control. Also, I put it as a tag that I game under all the time, 24/7, is I'm dyslexic.
Mm-hmm.
And when before I even started, some people, when I did tell them, some of my friends are like, "Are you sure you want to start this? Because you have to read chat too, and you have to read chat. You gotta be able to read things and do things like that." I said, "No, I really feel I'm going to trust the Lord and I'm going to do it." And I'm going to tell you, going under that tag, it has really helped people. I get people, all kinds of people coming in saying how much it helps them to see me doing it, because they're either dyslexic or they're ADD, or they have some sort of um some people call it disability. I don't call it disability. I call it a learning style. Just a learning style. And yeah, it's
I
not to
like
the
it.
point. It's not to the point where I can't. There's different levels of dyslexia, and I'm not to the higher standpoint. So I'm not to the highest points. I had a friend that did, and he could barely read, and he was like colorblind. But
Ooh.
I'm not that way. I can actually read. But what may take you, maybe like a book, let's say, any kind of book, it may take you maybe a week to 2 weeks to finish it. It may take me 3 or 4 weeks to finish it. It just takes me a little bit longer because I read slower. So, but I found out tricks throughout my life. But yeah, that was another thing too. I had to trust the Lord with that too, of how I was going to. And like I said, my mod, bless him, he's really helped me. He'll do he's done highlights on things if someone's new, so I can actually read it well. And he actually taught me how to make the writing bigger. So when you message out, it's big on my end, but I can read it really well because it's a bigger font.
Oh
so
man. Look.
yeah, but yeah, I had to trust the Lord in that way as well. But I found that it opens up the gate for me, for people who deal with the same things, or they'll say, I think that's awesome, I've dealt with depression, and things like that. And just, I think it's definitely the Lord has used it for me as a ministry sort of way, um to
Mm-hmm.
people.
I
Yeah.
I I totally agree, and it's just awesome to hear these kind of things. Just want to give a shout out. What's up, Sticks? How are you, man? I see you in the chat, brother. I see you there. So, the common thing I'm hearing as we talk about, like, okay, when things go wrong with tech, when things go wrong with viewers, when things don't go, when Lord knows what else is going on in our personal lives. And then we have, when things go right, when things exceed, when we see God, where the common thing I'm hearing is trust. Trust in the good, trust in the bad, vent the frustrations that we have with it.
It's
like
important. People think, oh well, you have to, and I'll tell people, they'll say, I'm going through this right now, but I'm just telling the Lord that I know He's got it under control, and I said that's good. Tell Him that, but be honest with Him. He
Oh
wants
yeah.
you to be honest. He wants you because He already knows. He already knows what's passing through your mind and everything.
Yeah, might as well let him hear it. Yeah.
You might as well just get it off your chest and let him hear it.
Facts.
And I have done that definitely even more so this time around. I have let him, hey, I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy about this. I've let him know. I'm not happy. But I know you're trying to teach me something.
Oh yeah, like especially like we said, you have more reason than most. I mean, you just had you had this major charity stream for something you're big going on, and suddenly you have CPU issues happening, like hit the fan right when it starts. Like I said, that's where I was like, how did you not punch things? Like that's the whole thing. But it's like you said, we trust that God knows what He's doing, which He does. Let's be honest here. And that it may not be a part of our plan, but it's a part of His plan. He's the one that's going to kind of get us through it. I talked to a lot of people about, streaming and stuff, like in my school. Like, apparently for some reason at the seminary I attend, I'm the Twitch streaming guy, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I know, right? Because it's funny, because I'm not like I still have a small community. Like, we're still growing. And so it's kind of funny that that's how people know. Well, one of the many things they know me as. I'm also like the AV guy, but apparently like, oh yeah, he also streams on Twitch. Like, that makes sense. So it's funny because they ask me about it, and I'll be the first to be like, look, it's when I talk to other people, they think, well, if I have a good personality, I can probably do it. I'm like, yeah, that's true, but it is a grind. Like, doing this is hard, and understanding that things aren't going to go according to plan is kind of an inevitability. I think a lot of people are caught off guard by how often that happens, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's true, because I remember, like...
And I think people... I've said this before, and I'll say it again when some people are saying, the grind is getting to me, and I'm like, don't give up. Because... I keep going. That's the only way you're going to make it. You know what I mean? Even when the going gets tough, the grind gets you to you. I always say, just keep, I say, if you want to take a break, but don't quit. Keep going. Because, the Lord's going to provide things for you. He knows you're working. He sees you working, so He's going to bless it.
I have the firm belief that when you put in work, when you clearly put in work for something greater than you, like when you put in work, time invested into Christ, He always lets that return one way or another. I'm not saying always it's a financial thing. I don't really believe in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I do believe He does honor work. He does honor the work that you put in. Like we just named numerous examples of like, oh well, getting burnt out again. Here's this awesome blow up that comes here, or here's this awesome like reassurance. These connections I've made. Like I was talking with some of the crew a while back. I think I was in like someone's chat, and I'm very honest about this. I'm like, hey, look, like if it wasn't for the community I've met of people on Twitch, I probably would have quit a long time ago. Like I'm gonna be honest. If it wasn't for like we got Sticks to You in the chat, DJ Para, Dabster, Shades, Gilbert, all the people we've named, I probably would have called it a long time ago because it is a grind. I know I still haven't even gotten a payout from Twitch. I'm probably not going to get one for a while.
It was very unexpected to me. I just think that was the Lord saying, "I'm here."
I agree. I think it was
Him because I've never gotten to that stage, but I think that was just His way saying, "I'm working here. Here you go."
Oh yeah. Like I agree. I think just this community here is so refreshing at the end of the day. Like it's like, oh man, like it really does. Like especially when we have a good day where it's just everyone having fun, cutting up, like in the chat. Like let's say we're all in your stream and watching that, or y'all are watching me get frustrated playing Resident Evil or whatever game I need to find, or watching young adults make horrible choices in Man Madon.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That game is like freaking. It is that game is hilarious. Like when those things happen.
Funny. It's not even that scary to be honest.
Oh no, my friend asked me about that game. He's like, "So is that a horror game?" I go, "I don't think so."
I don't think so. I mean,
like
a few jump scares, but it's nothing in it.
that game is B-rate horror in its purest form. Of like,
Yeah.
if y'all have ever seen the Dark Pictures anthology, highly recommend. But like, the thing with that game is that like, watch a really bad horror movie, and that's basically this game right here. From the
Yeah.
dialogue to the choices they make to like, okay, who proposes to his girlfriend underwater
Yeah.
when you just get attacked by a shark? Like, yes, that
Yeah.
is a real life scenario that happened in this game. These couple, they're attacked by a shark while they're scuba diving, and they fight the shark away or something, and he decides to propose. He's not even on one knee. He says,
No.
imagine me on one knee. And I'm like, bro, what if you drop that thing? If you drop
Yeah.
that thing in the bottom of the ocean, that ain't coming back. Like, like
No.
that is a $2,000, that is a $7,000 accident right there, man.
Yeah.
Like, that is the thing. And the best part about it is both sides of the dialogue basically said no. So I'm like, are you serious?
No, you're asking me in water. No.
After you just got attacked by a shark.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh, like those are the days when those happen where you're like, you know what, God is still clearly moving here. He is awesome. Like, and that's what we should be doing. I think that's the thing when we should be doing as streamers. It's not about the numbers. It's not about always, it's like, okay, are we honoring Christ and are we allowing him to do his thing? Because like you said earlier, people recognize that. They definitely see that. We can recognize, and that's what makes it fun at the end of the day. That's what makes it enjoyable. Those are the things that kind of keep us going, aka God finds a way to do things. He is
That's
in
right.
control, as he always is.